All right, so now let's transition to the 2021 Hall of Fame class has just been announced. Eight of them. I'm only gonna notate the top people that I think. You got John Lynch, one of the nastiest safeties ever.
Former Buck.
Peyton Man, yeah, he was a Buck. Peyton Manning, Charles Woodson, and then Calvin Johnson. What are your guys' takes on that? I'll go with Carlo since you're our guest. And let you take the floor on this one.
I think that these are three of arguably the top three at their position. When you look at Charles Woodson, he was a guy who was historically great for Oakland Raiders. He went on to the Green Bay Packers and he won Defensive Player of the Year back in 2009. He won a Super Bowl with them. He could have went to another. Well, he went to Super Bowl with the Raiders. Could have went to two straight if it wasn't for the famous Tuck rule. And actually, he was the one that actually sacked Tom Brady on that play too. So he's had a fantastic career. Peyton Manning too. Wherever he went, that team won 11 or 12 games. Always a number one seed. He went to 3 Super Bowls, won 2. Calvin Johnson. I mean, you talk about a wide receiver. Like what traits does Calvin Johnson not have when you think of like the ideal wide receiver? Size, speed, athleticism. Like he was a fantastic. He was the Barry Sanders of wide receivers. He could have been, he would have had all those records. One, if he played for a better team. And then 2, didn't retire at age 28, 29 years old. I mean, it's just a shame all because he was such a fantastic player and by far the best wide receiver of his era.
Yeah. Go ahead, Drew.
I agree with everything Carlos said. Only thing with Calvin Johnson, I wanted to read a couple of his records. It says Bleacher Report reported this. Per Sportsnet stats, Johnson holds the NFL records for most consecutive 100-yard receiving games, which is 8. Most receiving yards in a 5-game span, 861. And most consecutive games with 10 or more catches, 4. Having set each of those marks during his historic 2012 campaign. And I still feel like he left a lot on the table.
I'm not saying a lot.
Yeah, that's
astronomical. And it's just like, it's one of those, who was it? You know how you have some of those players like Ben Wilson or who's the other one? Lim Bias. It's one of those what if scenarios, that mystery that kind of looms over a particular player's career. And I feel like that's as great as Calvin Johnson, his career was, that still looms over. And so, yeah.
Me?
Yeah.
I'm rocking with Carlos. Carlos kind of fits how I feel. I mean, when he brought up Megatron, I think Megatron, like, he was on a bad team doing the most that he could. So I don't feel like he was really in a situation for his talent to be beneficial. I mean, it was, but if you would have dropped him on, like, Arizona the year they faced the Steelers, I think that would have been a different ball game as far as, like, what he offers defensively, because I feel like that's what they were missing. Like, their offensive line was amazing because, they had Larry Fitzgerald, one of the greatest wide receivers of all time. But as far as their defense, like, can you really just, like, point out a notable guy that was really taking care of business?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, he would have been perfect for that team. But like I said, I'm rocking with Carlo on.
Yeah, I think also, too, what a lot of people are not talking about, how difficult it is to put up those kind of numbers on a bad team, all because a lot of people are unmotivated when you're losing every single game. Like it's really difficult to run every single route as hard as you can, to really give it 110% for every single ball. So putting up those kind of stats on a bad team, I think that's almost harder to do than if you're on a really good team.
Yeah, I'm gonna go off you, Carlo and Drew. Agree with everything you said, and then just to a point of, there's a difference with Calvin Johnson, a difference between getting double teamed down the field and then getting double teamed at the line of scrimmage. In most of his career, he was getting double teamed at the line of scrimmage. Like, that's ridiculous, right?
Yeah.
Like,
I remember that game against the Saints. On the game against the Saints, there was a goal line package, and there was literally a corner and a safety that jammed him at the line of scrimmage. You never have seen a safety come down that far in the box,
Yeah.
And have that much emphasis just on one player. I'm like, wow, like that's how unstoppable Megatron was.
Yeah, Carlo, like we were talking on the phone, was it yesterday or the day before about the Lions, and you had Matthew Stafford, but you and you have Calvin Johnson, but you had almost every other year a new coach for those two. You didn't
Terrible
really have a
defense.
notable person on defense. You didn't really have an established running game at all. In and out, in and out. You had some D lines, as long as Sue was there, but then something crazy would happen, But it's just like I was watching All the Smoke when Calvin Johnson was on there, and he said he almost teamed up with Aaron Rodgers, Calvin Johnson. Think about Calvin Johnson and Aaron Rodgers on the same team.
Aaron Rodgers is a better quarterback than Tom Brady, if we being realistic.
Yeah.
Numbers.
He's got better passing.
Yeah.
He has better accuracy. The thing about Tom Brady is when it comes to his play style, it's more finesse than talent.
Right.
Yeah. Well,
anybody with two eyeballs can see that.
Well,
he's a better
Brady.
Listen, Aaron Rodgers is a better runner. He's a better passer. He's a better catcher. If you look at the statistics as far as QBs who get more sacks, his QBs have less sacks.
I have a good question. I have a question. Who is a better that you've seen? Not like how they kind of say game manager, but not like that, but a game manager of Aaron Rodgers, Tom Brady, or Peyton Manning, who play calling and for themselves instead of listening to the coach, like audible. I think Peyton as well.
Peyton is the dirt and the whiskey of football, because those championships that he got, he fucking earned them. There's at least
except his last one, the defense one.
No, hold on, let me finish. The championship that Aaron Rodgers has, that means more than 4 to some people.
I will say Peyton Manning is 3-1 versus Tom Brady in AFC title games.
Exactly. and when you look at Tom Brady's championships, there's at least 2 of them that you could take away. And Falcons, I feel like when that's the circumstances, you're a GOAT, but you're a GOAT with an asterisk to me.
Right.
Seattle.
Because Deflategate ruined your whole legicy for me. I just stopped giving a fuck. I stopped caring about Tom Brady after that. Like
even with them stealing the playbook or something like that from the Jets. Remember that in the AFC title?
Oh yeah.
Exactly.
I remember that. No, I don't know, like I had this post on Facebook. I mean, it's funny because Tom Brady has had a lot of so many fortunate events throughout his career. Tuck rule. I don't know if you guys remember when they played the Ravens in the AFC title game and Lee Evans dropped a touchdown. And then the next play, Billy Cundiff missed a 20-yard field goal that would have sent the game into overtime. Then what happens? The Malcolm Butler play, the Falcons' epic choke
failure.
They were up 28-3 with 2 minutes left in the third quarter. How do you lose that game? The fact that they lost the game, Dan Quinn should have been fired after that game. If I'm the owner, I'm going downstairs and I'm saying, empty out your locker and you're done. Like, how do you lose that game? I mean, that's utterly ridiculous. And then Jared Goff and the Rams a couple years ago, they averaged the second most points in the history of the NFL in one season, and they scored 3 points Super Bowl and lost. It's like
that's why he's gone. That's why Jared Goff's gone.
Exactly. But it's not taking away anything against Tom Brady. And back to the question that you asked, I think decision making, that's where Tom Brady excels. Is that Tom Brady always makes the right football play, but I think as in a bigger impact for his teams, I've always believed that Peyton Manning has done that, because even look what happened when he went to Denver. Denver, before he got there, was nothing. They had that one fluke year with Tim Tebow. And then, he goes there. He sets a record for 55 touchdowns. They go to the Super Bowl. Obviously, they got waxed by the greatest defense of all time. But But then, on that next year, they go to the Super Bowl, win it. And then you never heard from Denver again. And those players, you never heard of Demaryius Thomas. You never heard of Eric Decker. Wes Welker was done. Julius Thomas got his money, and then he was done too. Like those guys' careers just evaporated. So I think that Peyton Manning, in my opinion, when it comes to just really transforming a team, I think he was number one.
Yeah.
In my opinion. And then the year he got hurt with the Colts, they were a 14-win team the year before he got hurt, and then they won 2 games.
Yeah. He's just something I want to bring up real quick. Some news, some rumor mill, because the Matt Stafford, Jared Goff, and that trade went down. It looks like Marvin Jones Jr., who's a really good wide receiver for the Lions, is a free agent, and he just said that per sources is wanting to sign with the Rams now.
Wow.
That's wow.
I mean, that's a pretty good third option for them. I mean, he's not as good as Robert Woods or Cooper Kupp.
Yeah, but
he's still
that's your slot.
receiver.
That's a great slot receiver for you,
Mm-hmm.
But let's move on